everybody, and welcome to A Space to Fright. We're going to be doing more spooky themed sessions for the month of October, spooky season. So this session is perfect if you want to explore some more horror, ghost, hauntings, that kind of eerie, dark, spooky stories. We've got a lot of really fun prompts for you today for today's writing sprint on the theme of terrifying specters. So the structure is, I'll start us off with a quote. Today we're drawing from Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, and then we'll have a short journaling prompt followed by some spooky themed creative writing with an image, and then followed by 15 minutes at the end where you can write whatever you like. Not necessarily spooky, but I encourage you to work with this theme today of terrifying specters. So to start us off, I wanted to read a little bit from Mary Shelley's introduction to Frankenstein, where she kind of explains where she came up with the idea, and I found it pretty inspiring, so I wanted to share it with you. So the story goes, Mary Shelley was visiting Lord Byron in Switzerland. It was a small group of friends. The weather was awful, so they were stuck inside. And to combat boredom, Lord Byron challenged everybody to write a ghost story. So Mary Shelley tried for several days to think of a story, but she couldn't think of anything. And then she says this: "When I placed my head on the pillow, I did not sleep, nor could I be said to think. My imagination, unbidden, possessed and guided me, gifting the successive images that arose in my mind. I saw the pale student of unhallowed arts kneeling beside the thing he had put together. I saw the hideous phantasm of a man stretched out, and then, on the working of some powerful engine, show signs of life and stir with an uneasy, half-vital motion." So basically, she's sort of lying in bed, imagination drifting, and these images start coming to her. She was a little bit freaked out by them and tried to put them out of her mind, and returned to thinking about the ghost story. Thinking to herself, "My tiresome, unlucky ghost story. Oh, if only I could contrive one which would frighten my reader as I myself had been frightened that night." And then she kind of puts two and two together, and she says, "Swift as light and as cheering was the idea that broke in upon me. I have found it. What terrified me will terrify others. And I need only describe the spectre which had haunted my midnight pillow." So we're going to work with that idea, writing about what scares you. Because if the idea of horror stories, ghost stories, haunted stories, we want to scare people, unnerve people, freak them out a little bit. If it freaks out you, if it scares you, chances are it's going to scare at least one other person. So drawing from that today. And with that said, we'll start by exploring in our journals this question: what terrified you when you were a child? Why did you find it so scary? And did you ever overcome your fears? So as with any of these prompts, just write whatever comes to you. Don't try to overthink it. Kind of be like Mary Shelley. Let the images wash over you. Let them come instead of trying to force it. So I'll give you 5 minutes to explore that question. Be really open and honest with yourself about what did scare you, and we'll start from there. So you've got 5 minutes to do that. Okay, 5 minutes is up, so finish the sentence you're on. So I'll just share a little bit of what I was exploring. When I was very young, I had a fear of something grabbing my ankle as I was getting into bed. I had in my mind it was this big hairy arm, like maybe a gorilla under my bed or something. So to avoid being grabbed, I would often jump the final distance into bed so I could avoid my foot getting too near the edge. I eventually did get over it because I don't continue to fear gorillas under my bed, but I don't really know why it stopped. But that was really interesting to explore. It's like these dark, hidden things, these spaces we can't see quite what's under there, so the imagination goes wild. Anyway, if you would like to share what you were exploring, feel free to say something in the comments. It's really interesting to hear what people have to share, and you never know, you might inspire somebody else's creativity. So we'll move on now to some spooky prompted creative writing. So for this section, we're going to work from this somewhat unsettling image. And the question is, what's going on here? Describe the events leading up to this moment, and if you have time, because we've got 10 minutes, you can write about what happened next. So, I won't say anything else. I'll let your imagination decide what's going on here. So, let it come to you. You can jot down ideas. You can start writing a scene or a story, whatever comes to you. Let's just play with this, have some fun. You can draw on those fears we were exploring, and we've got 10 minutes, so that'll start now. Okay, time's up. So finish the sentence you're on. Okay, so now we'll move into the final 15-minute free writing section. So if you like what you were writing just now, you can keep going with that in the last 15 minutes. Or if you would like to work from a prompt, we have some prompts for you. Also, if you have an ongoing project or something else you wish to write, you can feel free to work on that now. But for people who would like a prompt, here are some prompts you can choose from. So option 1, you could do a bit more journaling, and the prompt for that is, can you remember a nightmare you've had recently? If you can't, then maybe a nightmare you had from in the past or as a child, but just write down as much detail as you can remember. This is again helping us to tap into what scares us so that we can write about it and use it in our stories to potentially scare other people. So reflect on that if you like. You could also, thinking about Frankenstein, we could write a character who, kind of like Frankenstein, has been the unwitting creator of something horrifying. So not necessarily a reanimated corpse, although feel free to tell your own version of Frankenstein if you like here. But yeah, think about someone who has created something horrifying. What did they create and why is it so scary? And then option 3, there's this kind of eerie, strange image, which again, I won't say too much about because I want you to decide what is this creature and what happens when this person comes face to face with it in the forest. So yeah, choose whichever you wish to write about, and we'll start our 15 minutes now. Okay, time's up, so finish the sentence you're on. And don't forget to save your work. And yeah, good job. I hope you enjoyed that. I really love writing spooky stories, exploring like darker themes, the mysterious, the odd, the supernatural. So we'll be doing this again next week. Different themes, different prompts, a slightly different approach to spooky stories. So yeah, come and join us next week for more Space to Fright. And yeah, if you feel warmed up and you want to keep going now, absolutely feel free to do so. I like to use these writing sprints as a way to warm up for a longer span of writing. So if I'm working on my novel or a screenplay or something, so feel free to go and do that. Otherwise, you can close it down, move on with your day, and then hopefully come back tomorrow or next week feeling fresh and ready to write some more. So yeah, thanks for stopping by and see you next time.